Hi, Dave Smith here today with Nate. Going to tell you about Chapter 13s. Chapter 13s, if you've been listening to my videos, you probably listened to the Chapter 7 already. It's because 7 is before 13, so you want to listen to the 7 first. It's just the way number-wise things work. But Chapter 13, different than Chapter 7. Chapter 13s are commonly done because people want to catch up on their house payments, or they have a big tax debt and they can't get rid of it, or I don't know, they have a bunch of tickets. And like, I'm talking about a bunch of tickets, not like, oh, I got a $500 ticket. I'm talking about like $10,000 in tickets, and they just need to pay them back. Those debts just generally are not dischargeable in bankruptcy. There's a lot of other debts that are not dischargeable in bankruptcy, and I'm going to talk about that when I talk about my Chapter 13 video, the boring part of this process, which is a description of how all Chapter 13s work. You can go to that video and you're going to see the links. Go ahead and link on them and listen to them. Just sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and watch the videos because you're going to learn a lot about Chapter 13s. But Chapter 13, very similar to Chapter 7. We meet with you. We go over all of your financial data. It all gets organized and filed into a bankruptcy petition. Before you file, you have to do credit counseling, just like a Chapter 7. You do the credit counseling, we draft your petition. We sit down and we put all the financial data that you have into the petition. The petition gets signed and then filed. After it's filed, a trustee is assigned to the Chapter 13 bankruptcy. This is where things diverge. They're different than a Chapter 7. The bankruptcy trustee in a Chapter 13 is called a passive trustee. Now, what that functionally means is the trustee's job is not to administer assets. In a Chapter 7, they're looking for things to sell. In a Chapter 13, not so much. Their job in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy is to monitor the bankruptcy process. If there is something to sell, they might advise you to sell it. They might direct you to sell it. But Chapter 13s are different than 7s because your goal is to repay creditors that are non-dischargeable in a Chapter 7. So, in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, you're going to pay back the arrearage on your house, or the tax debt that you owe, or the ticket debt that you owe, and you're going to pay it over 3 to 5 years. After the 3 to 5 year period is completed, you get a discharge as to all of your other unsecured debt and debt that is generally dischargeable. Your case closes, and then you move on, and you don't have to worry about that debt anymore. It takes longer to do a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, and that's too bad. That's the bad news. But the good news is you're paying back debts over time that you would have never been able to pay back under the circumstances of a Chapter 7. So if you decide to want to do a Chapter 13, listen to my Chapter 13 video. It's very helpful, very instructive. Thank you.